Mr. Barber.
Here.
Mr. Blackstock.
Present.
Mr. Farmer.
Here.
Mr. Scarce.
Here, and I believe my mic is dead.
Okay. Mr. Warren.
Here.
Dr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Davis.
Present. I wish all those that would, let's have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. For those who can stand, join me in the pledges of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any items to be added to the agenda? Hearing none, can I have an approval of the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Motion by Mr. Blackstock. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Miller. Thank you. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none.
Let's get the second on the iPad. All right, please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
Passes unanimously. Thank you. Item A, minutes, June 24, 2019, economic development. Are we there?
We're at the consent agenda. We need a motion to approve.
Oh, okay, consent agenda. Can I have a motion for the consent agenda? Missed that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Blackstock. Mr. Blackstock made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Been from Mr. Farmer, thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none.
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Now moving on to minutes, June 24th, 2019, Economic Development Committee.
For presentation.
Presentations. Okay, so that's all that. Pardon me. I would like for all the board, if you will, to meet with me down at the front, please, for the presentations. We have 4.
I'd like to recognize the Tunstall FFA. Everybody from there would come up.
Yes. Mr. Bowles is back there.
Trying to let you know. Yes, ma'am. How are you? Mispronounce anybody's name, I apologize. That's okay. Before we start. You just wanted to look small. I thought Dr. Jones on one side, Dr. Bill We wanted to recognize them on their accomplishment, read a resolution, but when I saw this FFA achievement, I was very proud of them in school. I've done FFA from 8th grade to 12th grade, and I also was on the state degree team. We went 5th to the state, so it's always been near and dear to me. And to this day, things I learned in FFA, I still use every day. It's a valuable skill. It's a great program, builds leadership. I'm very proud of everybody involved in promoting agriculture in the county. So we want to honor y'all with this resolution. It says at the business meeting of the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors on August 20th, 2019 in the General District Courtroom of the Edwin R. Shields Courthouse Edition, the following resolution was presented and adopted. Whereas chapter members Jacob Baldwin, excuse me, I told you I'd get that wrong, Megan Pollock, Casey Tony, along with the chapter advisor Dr. Jessica M. Jones from Tunstall High School's Future Farmers of America, attended the 93rd Virginia FFA State Convention at Virginia Tech from June 17th through the 20th, 2019. Whereas chapter member Tony, chapter secretary Bowden, and chapter president Pollock served as Tunstall High FFA convention delegates. Tony, Bowden, and Pollock provided input and voted on the FFA's audit, budget, and use program of activities and constitution and bylaws proposed changes. And whereas Pollock was recognized during the convention's first General Assembly session on June 17th with the State Senior Horticultural Demonstration Career Development Event held at the Virginia State Fair on October 3rd, where Pollock placed third overall. And whereas the Tunstall High FFA Farm and Agribusiness Management Team, Bowden, I'm going to get that right in a minute, it's tongue twister. Pollock and Tony placed 7th in the State Career Development Event. The Farm and Agribusiness Management Career Development Event develops the abilities to apply the economic principles and concepts used in analyzing farm, ranch, business management decisions. Bowden placed 27th, Tony placed 26th, and Pollock placed 11th overall in the contest. And whereas Bowden competed in the Computer Application State Career Development Event, said event is designed for FFA members to develop, practice, and demonstrate skills needed for basic word processing, spreadsheet, and database in the agricultural industry. Each event part represents real-world process needed in any type of job. Bowden placed as the third high individual overall. Bowden also was a recipient of the Virginia Tech Collegiate FFA Jacket Scholarship. The Collegiate FFA chapter at Virginia Tech awarded only the 4 FFA Jacket Scholarships, including the Halifax County FFA, Liberty FFA, Smith Mountain FFA chapters. And whereas the Tunstall High FFA Turf Management Team of Bowden, Pollock, and Tony placed 2nd overall in the State Career Development Event individually, Bowden placed 5th, Tony placed 4th, and Pollock placed 2nd overall in the contest. Pollock was also competed in the Employment Skills Leadership Development Event and placed 1st in the state event and advanced to the national competition held in conjunction with the 92nd National FFA Convention and Expo in Indianapolis, Indiana in October. And whereas Virginia Neal, the Tunstall High FFA chapter was awarded the state FFA degree by the Virginia FFA Association. Then be it resolved that the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors does hereby express its deepest congratulations and admiration to the Tunstall High School FFA for its accomplishments at the state competition. Given under my hand this 20th day of August 2019, Joe B. Davis, Chairman. Congratulations.
One, two, three. Point it straight ahead. 1, 2, 3. Got it.
Thank you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. We have next Pittsylvania Career and Technical students, Mr. Bob Warren. Logan Mills. Logan Mills. Switch it up.
All right, Logan, if you'd like to join us, and your family's more than welcome to come up as well. I'll read the resolution, and Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors held August 20th, 2019 in the General District Courtroom of the Edwin R. Shields Courthouse Edition, the following resolution was presented and adopted. Logan Mills, son of Robert and Cindy Mills, is a Pittsylvania County resident, 18 years old, who's a second-generation farmer in the Callens community. Whereas during the Virginia, the Future Farmers of America Convention held June 17th through 20th, 2019 at Virginia Tech, Logan was presented with the prestigious Virginia FFA State Star Farmer Award. Whereas the Virginia FFA presents its Star Awards to the best of the best. The Star Award is presented to 6 state finalists, or 6 state finalists are chosen, 1 from each area within the state, and then the award is presented to 1 of the 6 finalists. The award recognizes achievement in both career and leadership development, and is one of the highest achievable awards in the Virginia FFA. In addition to the Star Farmer Award, Logan was the Diversified Crop Production Proficiency Award recipient for tobacco, hemp, grain, and hay, and is the first person to win the FFA Award for tobacco since 2008, and the first ever for hemp. Whereas through his efforts and dedication, Logan was granted the 2019 Virginia FFA State Star Farmer Award. Logan carries on the Mills family tradition of FFA membership, and in winning the FFA sponsored competitions, he performed admirably, bringing recognition not only to himself, but to his family tradition, his school, and his FFA program within our county. So be it resolved that the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors, we express our congratulations and admiration to Logan Mills on being granted the 2019 Virginia FFA State Star Farmer Award, given under my hand the 20th day of August 2019, Joe B. Davis, Chairman. I just want to say what a pleasure it is. I think just a year ago, Robert was standing up here before us, receiving his own recognition for being a regional winner within the southeastern of our country, and Logan being recognized in the state of Virginia. That's just awesome. So what's the old saying? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I think that carries on pretty well here. But during my time on the Board of Supervisors, it's certain families or certain individuals that you run across, and you know them through whether it's their work ethic, whether it's through their presence in the community. And the Mills family is one that I'm just so grateful to have met through my time here. My children, we live on a farm in Gretna, and I understand. I don't personally do it, but I understand the commitment of the getting up in the morning, getting up in the middle of the night, tending to your animals, tending to your farm, tending to your crops, the hard work that comes beyond that. So, sometimes we get up here and recognize the sports teams for winning state accomplishments, but I'm just so proud that here in Pittsylvania County, we recognize, our agricultural superstars, and Logan certainly are one of them. So, thank you. Congratulations. And by the way, we always speak of our young people, the accomplishments that they do, and then they go on to college, and you always hope that they'll come back to the community and invest and it just, reap the rewards of having our youth here. And Logan starts college later this week. Yeah, so on Thursday he'll be attending Virginia Tech, and I think your plans are to come back and operate in the family business in the future. So very happy for that.
Straight ahead. 1, 2, 3.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to ask the young folk from the Pittsylvania County Career and Technical Department to come forward. It is always a wonderful thing to be able to recognize good people doing great things. Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors Resolution 2019, August 6th. Pittsylvania Career and Technical Center Skills USA. Whereas Skills USA, headquartered in Leesville, Virginia, is a national career and technical student organization that prepares leadership in the world of work. And whereas students from the Pittsylvania County Career and Technical Center attended the 2019 Skills USA National Leadership and Skills Conference, joining approximately 6,500 student contestants from 1,500 high school at the competition. Whereas Trent Oswald, a Chatham High School graduate, won a gold medal in CNC milling, and whereas Brianna Mell, a Chatham High School graduate, won a bronze medal in first aid CPR, and whereas Adam Elkonic, placed 6th in the CNC technician, and Jacob Edwards placed 7th in CNC turning. And whereas these students demonstrated leadership skills, represented their school well, on and off campus, giving above and beyond expectations, and distinguishing themselves by setting future career goals. And whereas much appreciation is also sent to the instructors whose hard work to support and promote these opportunities for their students, then be it resolved that the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors does hereby express its deepest congratulations and admiration to the Pittsylvania County Career and Technical Center for its accomplishments at the national competition. Given under my hand this 20th day of August 2019, Joe B. Davis, Chairman of the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors.
Is there anything you would like to say?
Well, I would like to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First, I want to thank the students for all your dedication, your passion to your program, instructors as well. Thank you for everything you do for PCTC. Thank you to the board for taking the time to acknowledge our students. I also like to thank all the business leaders and community members for helping with this event financially. That means a lot to us. And also thank you parents for supporting us and understanding what we do at the Career Tech Center. Thank you for everything you've done for us as well.
All right, we got 3 experts by now. Look ahead, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Thank you.
One more.
I'd like to ask for the Chatham High School baseball team, their coaches, I know Mr. Anderson's in here, and the principal, Mr. Reese, is here. Also want to take the opportunity while they're coming forward to congratulate Mr. Reese He's recently been appointed the principal at Chatham High School, been there a long time as assistant principal, and actually it's pretty amazing. Went to school there and now comes back to take part in the high school. And I echo the same sentiments Mr. Farmer said. We're so fortunate here in Pittsylvania County to have the outstanding youth that we have and the wonderful jobs they're doing in it. And Logan, it really blesses my heart to hear, you're gonna come back and continue the family business. That's been a goal and a focus of this board and our school system, is to give opportunities where our folks could come back, like with the precision machine programs and all. They're driving forces in economic development. I'm very passionate about that aspect, so thank you to you folks, and a thank you to the hard work from the staff and all that does that. We really do appreciate it. But, Mr. Farmer, I'm sorry, as long as we keep winning state championships at Chatham High School, we're gonna come on over. They have done well. Mr. Anderson, I think this is the 4th time you've been over here. 2 golfs, 2 baseballs.
Yes, sir.
So, congratulations. You must have doing something right over there. I'm not sure what it is. The ball's bouncing your way every time, right?
Yes, sir.
So, all right. This is a lengthy one, so bear with me. And I know I got a name or two in here I might butcher. I'm gonna ask you to correct, okay? Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors, Resolution 2019-08-07, Chatham High School Baseball. Virginia, at the business meeting of the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors held on August 20th, 2019, in the General District Courtroom of Edwin R. Shields Courthouse Edition, the following resolution was presented and adopted. Whereas the Chatham High School Cavaliers baseball team won the 2019 Virginia High School League 2A state championship in dominant fashion by breaking the state record for runs scored in a championship contest. Whereas the Cavaliers pounded the Lebanon Pioneers 23-5 to capture their 3rd state baseball title. And whereas the Cavaliers achieved this record-breaking feat of 23 runs off of 22 hits, as the Cavaliers sluggers managed to reach base a total of 39 times. And whereas leadoff hitter Graham Dalton was 2 for 4 and scored 3 runs. Second place hitter Grayson Reed went 4 for 6 with 3 RBIs and scored 3 times. Third place hitter Matt Arnold was 4 for 6 with 4 RBIs. Cleanup hitter and VHSL record-setting RBI leader Bree Atkins went 3 for 6 with 3 RBIs. Fifth place hitter Andrew Podojecki. Okay, Podojecki, you know I couldn't get that one. Reached base in all 6 plate appearances, 1 hit, 5 walks, and he scored twice. Sixth place hitter Hunter Atkins was 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs scored. Contributing in the 7th spot was designated hitter Luke Martin and Christian Lancaster. 8th place hitter Jacob Miller went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and scored twice. 9th place batter Grant Reynolds was 4 for 5 with 3 RBIs and scored 5 times. And whereas Andrew Podojecki was the champion game's winning pitcher, striking out 8 in 6 innings. He gave up 4 unearned runs on 3 hits, leading up to the championship game. Andrew pitched a shutout in the state quarterfinals, and he also closed the state semifinal game to secure the Cavalier spot in the championship. And whereas several players were awarded with accomplishments, second team All Dogwood District and second team All Regional was awarded to Grant Reynolds. First team All Dogwood District was awarded to Grant Dalton, Ruth Atkins, Matt Arnold, Luke Martin, and Andrew Podojecki. Andrew Podojecki was also the District Player of the Year, Team All Region, was awarded to Drew Atkins, Grant Dalton, Matt Arnold, Luke Martin, and Andrew. I'm getting there after that 4 times. He did everything, didn't he? Andrew Bodick was also the regional player of the year, whereas 4 Cavaliers were selected to the Virginia High School League first team All-State team and was named to the second team. First team selections were Drew Atkins at first base, Graham Dalton at second base, Matthew Arnold at third base, and Andrew Bodick was selected as both an outfielder and a pitcher. Luke Martin was selected to the second team All-State as the designated hitter. Andrew was named the Virginia High School League 2A Player of the Year, the Dogwood District Pitcher of the Year, and the Regional 2 Player of the Year for the second straight year. Head coach Chad Anderson collected his second state championship at the Cavaliers head coach and his second award as the Virginia High School League 2A State Coach of the Year. And whereas Sam Atkins set a new single-season RBI record with 61 on the year. The previous record was 52. Sam was also named first team All-Dogwood District, first team All-Regional, first team All-State in this tie-breaking season. Then, be it resolved that the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors does hereby express its deepest congratulations and admiration to the Chatham High School baseball team for its 2019 state championship win, given under my hand this 20th day of August 2019, Joe B. Davis, Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors Chair.
Anything you'd like to say? Well, Andrew he's actually at Longwood. He's gone off to college.
So he's pitching down there now.
Yes, absolutely. We do have Bray and Samuel Atkins right here. And what was the first one? Brad. And Brad, yeah. He's been named all kinds of things. This is Samuel Bray Atkins. He set the VHSL RBI record. You know, going into this season, we had some aspirations. We thought we could get there. We weren't exactly sure we could win it. Actually, going into the tournament, we were ranked #1 in the state going into the tournament, but we were by far an underdog and not expected to do the things that they did. But the coach knew what he was doing. He put out a good game plan, and the guys bought in, and the rest was history. And you know, the Lebanon coach has been coaching, I think, for 40 years or something like that. And he said that going into that game, they had been just slaughtering people. And he said, we thought we could hit the ball until we saw those guys across the field. So it was a really good game. It was a lot of fun. Mr. Foster and I was up there on the way up. We were talking about, you know, we hope that it's kind of out of hand so we won't be pacing or anything like that. When I looked at him and it was 9-1, I did like this and we kind of grinned, and that was in the 3rd inning. So it was fun the rest of the day. So we're really proud of these guys.
I'll get a little bit closer. Tim, come on in. Bob, if y'all want to come in this way. Try looking straight ahead. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Mr. Reeves, if everybody will go out this way by Caitlin, she's got a resolution for each member of the team. Guys, y'all did that one? Congratulations. Great job.
We talked about it.
What, we gotta, why did we cover that? So we need to be back down now.
You just do it. You just do it by yourself.
We gotta go back down.
Joe's got it.
That would have been bad.
Thank goodness the rest of them, yeah.
Joe Howell.
Yeah, the 80th anniversary of Pittsylvania.
Like all the library staff volunteers, is that correct? And the board members?
You're good.
I'd like to recognize you, guys, resolutions on the 80th anniversary of the Pittsylvania County Public Library. Whereas in 1913, the library staff by volunteers was established in Chatham through the efforts of the Federation of Women's Clubs and Rotary Club, who formed the Chatham Library Association. And whereas on November the 16th, 1938, Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors, known as the Board, accepted the offer of Mr. and Ms. David K. Bruce to donate a library building equipped with books, agreed to make an annual appropriation to operate the library in accordance with state law and include the services of a trained librarian. And whereas in 1938, the board fully realized the importance of such a building and the great benefits which would be derived by the people of this country or this county through the erection and the maintenance of the library. And whereas on Wednesday, August 30th, 1939, the Pittsylvania County Public Library opened to the public. And whereas in 1939, the sculpture, the Charioteer and Horses, was donated and presented to the library by its sculptor, Anna Hyatt Huntington. And whereas on April 27th, 1940, the first bookmobile, wow, I didn't know that went back that far, arrived on loan from the federally funded Works Progressive Administration statewide library project to provide library services throughout the county. And whereas in 1964, the Gretna Town Library Station, quote unquote, was organized and dedicated as an independent library unit through the efforts of Dr. Lester Bond and the Gretna Chamber of Commerce. And whereas in 1990, the Chatham Library branch moved to its current location, the site being donated by the Kerr Evans family and funded by the board, Friends of the Library, and the Virginia State Library grants. And whereas in 1992, the Brownsville Cascade Library branch opened in its current location through the efforts of the Brownsville Friends of the Library Board of Trustees, the PPL Foundation, and the board. Whereas in 1999, the Northern Pittsylvania County Learning Center opened in Gretna, housing classrooms for Denver Community College and the Gretna Library branch. And whereas in 2008, the Mount Hermon Library branch opened in leased space, whereas in 2013, the History Research Center and Library opened in the former Chatham Rail Depot, the restoration of which was led by Francis Hallam Hurt and the Pennsylvania Historical Society. And whereas in 2018, the Mount Hermon Library branch moved to its current location, an effort funded through the efforts of the board, the Library Board of Trustees, and the PPL Foundation. And whereas the Pittsylvania County Public Library, a committee of community members, and the board continue to examine opportunities to expand library services to underserved county areas, and whereas library services and programs continue to support and expand citizens' access to print and digital literacy for all ages, support lifelong learning and career development, and community development. Now therefore be it resolved that the Pittsylvania County Board of Supervisors, number one, recognizes the value of libraries, is promoting literacy, education, lifelong learning, digital access, civic engagement, career transition, employment, and community development, while answering the informational and personal goals of county citizens. Number two, commemorates the establishment of the Pittsylvania County Public Library on August the 30th, 1939. Number 3, salutes the library staff and supporters of the Pittsylvania County Public Library for their long and distinguished record of service to the people of the county and for their contributions to the literacy, educational, informational, and community needs of county citizens. And number 4, calls upon the people of the county to observe the 80th anniversary of the Pittsylvania County Public Library with appropriate recognition and continued support for the library. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, all ladies. Mrs. Two.
I would very much like to thank the board for its support over the years for the library and the public and our volunteer board members, board of trustees members, and community members who have supported the expansion of the library. I hope that all of you will join us next week for the library's birthday celebrations. We're going to have a rolling birthday party at each branch, so come and have some cake with us. We're looking forward to another 80 years. Thank you, Steve.
Get a picture real quick, you guys. All right, 1, 2, 3.
We now come to the hearing of the citizens. Each person addressing the board under hearing of the citizens shall be a resident or landowner of the county or the registered agent of such resident or landowner. Each person shall step up, give his or her name and district in an audible tone of voice for the record, and unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. No person shall be permitted to address the board more than once during hearing of the citizens. All remarks shall be addressed to the board as a body and not to an individual member thereof. Hearing of the citizens shall last for a maximum of 45 minutes. Any individual that is signed up to speak during the said section who does not get the opportunity to do so because of aforementioned time limit shall be given speaking priority at the next board meeting. Absent the chairman's approval, no person shall be able to speak who is not signed up. And I don't have anyone signed up to speak. Well, I got that one right. Now we come to 10. Public hearings. Rezoning public hearings pursuant to Article 5, Division 6 of the Pittsylvania County Zoning Ordinance. The Board of Supervisors have been empowered to hear and decide specific zoning issues and zoning map changes in support of said ordinance. In accomplishing this important task, the board is responsible for promoting the health, safety, and general public welfare of the citizens of Pittsylvania County. The board must ensure that all of its decisions and regulations be directed to these goals and that each be consistent with the environment, the comprehensive plan, and in the best interest of Pittsylvania County, its citizens, and its posterity. Case number 1, Mr. Sides.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. You may open the public hearing for case 1.
Open this public hearing at 7:39. Case R-19-022. Mr. Sides.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. In case R-19-022, April Daly and others have petitioned to rezone 0.94 of an acre located on State Road 747, Pancroft Road in the Chatham-Blairs Election District from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to consolidate with the adjacent A1 Agricultural Family Farm. The Planning Commission recommended by a 7-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. Once the property is rezoned to A1, then all uses listed under Section 35-178 are permitted uses. Staff summary is enclosed in your board packet, and Mr. Chairman, I believe there's a representative here to represent the petition tonight.
All right, would you like to step forward?
My name is Pete Costapanagiotis. I'm an attorney at Daniel Medlin Kirby, handling the administration of Jason Patterson's father, Charles Patterson, his estate, where he left Jason the land that we talked about. And Jason and his sister split the original 35-acre tract to a 2-acre tract for the sister and the 33 for Jason. That 33 is now landlocked, but it is adjacent to this .94 acres, and Jason plans on using it, if approved, as one agriculture area so he can have a driveway and street access, where he plans on building probably his family home. And just here if you have any questions or.
Well, you may want to stay close. I'm not sure if anyone signed up to speak.
Mr.
But
Chairman,
anyway.
we had no one else sign up to speak to this case.
Okay, Counselor. I think, Mr. Warren, I think this is your district.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve rezoning case number R19-022, to be rezoned from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District.
Well, I was going.
Please close the public.
Oh, pardon me, I do apologize. I closed the public hearing at 7:41. Well, put down there, Kalen, 7:40. Sorry about that.
Good, bro.
Sure did. I heard some whispering. I wish somebody would throw something. Thank you. Can we go with that, Counselor? All right, the motion was made by Mr. Warren. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Scarce. Do we have any discussion from any of the board members? Hearing none.
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
Passes unanimously. Your land has been rezoned, and if you would like to stay for the meetings, we'd appreciate your attendance. If not, you may be permitted to leave. So thank you.
Thank you.
Case number 2. I open this public hearing, 7:42.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Case 2, R-19-023, Maxi Properties LLC and Jessica and Brandon Driver have petitioned to rezone 0.169 of an acre from A1 Agricultural District to R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District and 0.168 of an acre from R1 Residential Suburban Subdivision District to A1 Agricultural District to combine with adjacent parcels zoned A1 and R1 respectively. It's essentially a land swap. The parcels are located on State Road 834, Jones Mill Road in the Tunstall Election District. The Planning Commission recommended by a 7-0 vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. Once the properties are rezoned to R1 and A1, then all uses listed under Section 35-222 and 35-178 are permitted uses. Staff summary is enclosed in your board packet, and Mr. Chairman, Mr. Maxey is here to represent the petition.
Mr. Maxey?
He wasn't able to make it, but we're Jessica and Brandon Driver.
All right, please come up then.
Hello. Yeah, it's just a simple land swap. It should be beneficial to both landowners. Basically, just the tip of our property is a triangle shape, and just cutting up the top of the triangle and adding that, I think it's about 30 feet onto the side of our property.
So they could have better access to land to across from us.
Yeah.
Okay. Driver is the last name?
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. and Ms. Driver. Thank you. Thank you for your input. No one had signed up to speak against this, so you may be seated. I'm going to close this at 7:44. What's the nature of the board?
Mr. Chairman, case R-19-023, I'd like to make a motion we approve the zoning request as stated by Mr. Sides.
Thank you. Motion made by Mr. Barber. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Farmer. Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none?
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
The motion passes unanimously. Mr. and Ms. Driver, Mr. Maxey's lands has been rezoned. Thank you. Item B, other public hearings. I don't think we have anyone signed up, do we?
Well,
two, and
Okay.
take the first one.
Well, let me go ahead. Each person addressing the board under a public hearing shall step up, give his or her name and district and his or her place of residency for non-county citizens. In an audible tone of voice for the record, and unless further time is granted by the chairman, shall limit his or her address to 3 minutes. Speakers for a group shall be limited to 10 minutes. Speakers shall conclude their remarks at that time unless the consent of the board is affirmatively given to extend the speaker allotted time. Absent chairman's approval, no person shall be able to speak who is not signed up. Public hearing number 1. Mr. Baden Hunt Esquire.
Yes, you can open the public hearing now.
I open up this public hearing at 7:46.
Mr. Chairman, let me explain to the benefit of the public. We have a situation in this matter which it's evidence of when two parties work together, both can mutually benefit. This was first suggested by a very novel and good idea by Mr. Warren. But Ford Brothers LLC, they own a portion of a soccer field that the county has utilized for numerous years and leased to a very active local soccer organization. With that property in the process of being redeveloped, the Ford Brothers said they'd like to clean up this portion of a parcel that we've been using. They wanted to sell that to us. We happened to come in at around the same time. A citizen who used to live here but now lives in Seattle, in and around Seattle, Washington, had 2 tracts of land in the Ringgold community that she had no intention of using, and the family did not want anymore, and she was tired of paying taxes. She has gifted those property to Pittsylvania County at no cost. We have worked out a land swap with Mr. Ford. Mr. Ford has agreed to accept those 2 parcels in exchange for giving us the land with the soccer field at Old Chatham Middle School at no cost. Blair's at no cost. Virginia Code Section 15.2-1800, since we are proposing to gift taxpayer property, meaning the 2 parcels in Ringgold that we now own, it requires us to have a public hearing for any citizen comment. This matter has been advertised in the Chatham Star Tribune. Following the public hearing, if it's the board's pleasure, staff recommends that you authorize the transfer ownership of the property in Ringgold, the 2 lots, to Ford Brothers LLC, contingent on Ford Brothers LLC's transfer of the ownership of the Old Chatham, Old Blair's Middle School land containing a portion of the soccer field to the county for no cost. I've got 2 deeds in the packet that shows how this transaction is going to occur, as well as some information about the advertisement of this matter. So we have had no citizens sign up, so it's appropriate to close the public hearing at this time, and it's for the board's pleasure for this land swap.
I hereby close this public hearing, 7:49. What's the nature of the board?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make a motion that we receive the information as given by the attorney.
I have a motion by Dr. Miller. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Warren. Any further discussion? Hearing none?
Let's get the motion in a second in the software. All right, please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
Motion carries unanimously. Public hearing FYI 2020, County Budget Amendments. Ms. Kimberly J. Vanderhyde.
Mr. Chairman, it's appropriate to open the budget now, and then Ms. Vanderheim is going to explain to everybody what's going on for this public hearing.
Thank you. I open this public hearing up at 7:50 p.m.
Virginia Code Section 15.2-2507 states that any locality may amend its budget to adjust the aggregate amount to be appropriated during the current fiscal year as shown in the currently adopted budget as prescribed by Section 15.2-2504. However, any such amendment which exceeds 1% of the total expenditures shown in the currently adopted budget must be accomplished by publishing a notice of a meeting and a public hearing once in a newspaper having general circulation in that locality at least 7 days prior to that meeting date. An advertisement of this budget amendment that is being heard tonight was advertised in the Chatham Star-Tribune on August the 7th, 2019. A copy of that ad is also located in your board packet and has been on the county's website since that time. It does satisfy our 7-day requirement. The budget amendment that was advertised requested a total of $2,109,937.56, and it was made up of $1,366,422 of school carryovers, $150,000 for school and additional school appropriation, and $593,515.56 of county carryovers and other budget amendments. County staff recommended that the board approve and appropriate a total of $1,905,487.56, and that was without much deliberation and looking through budgets to determine what was appropriate and what needed to be added. And again, the school carryover of $1,366,422 is included in that, as well as the additional appropriation of $150,000 for the schools, and a total of $389,065.56 for county carryovers and the other budget amendments.
Thank you. No one has signed up, so it would be appropriate at this time to close the public
I close the
hearing.
public hearing at 7:52.
And although this came from a recommendation from the Finance Committee and it technically doesn't need a second, I think for your software, we're going to have to put a second in there to get us to the voting stage. Am I correct?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the appropriation of the budget amendments totaling $1,905,487.56 to the FY 2020 county budget as presented.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Blackstock. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Farmer. Any further discussion?
I had a question. The sheriff carryover is in here also?
Yes, it is
Okay, thank you.
included. It's part of the 389.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none?
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
The motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Item number 11, any unfinished business?
No, sir.
Item 12, new business, FY 20 PSAP education grant. Mr. Slim.
Good evening, everyone. This is a grant that we have received over the past, well, long before my time. It is for from the 911 Services Board, and we are actually operating under that grant right now in FY 20, and this is applying for FY 21. It's $3,000 for education. We send our dispatchers to conferences and or do some online training. We're going to look at that this year, actually, in various classes. It's a non-matching grant. We just need permission to apply for it.
Thank you, Mr. Slim. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion. We approve this grant application.
Motion made by Mr. Barber. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Scarce. We have any further discussion? Hearing none?
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
Motion carries unanimous. Thank you, Mr. Slim. Rescue Squad Assistant Fund Grant. Mr. Slim.
This is a continuation of a grant that was approved last year at this time. We had applied for an ambulance and hoping that we would get that July 1. We did not get funded for it. This is an ambulance I'm trying to get and put in the HURT area, where right now we rent an ambulance and use the DRT staff on that. We're going to apply again in the September cycle. If awarded, it would be awarded January 1st of 2021. I talked to, well, let me back up. We're trying to get 100% funding for the ambulance, defibrillator, and stretcher, and stair chair and so forth, the big ticket items for the ambulance. And Mr. Smithman and I had talked originally, because we were hoping we'd get the July 1 grant, and we had some money in contingency. If we don't get 100%, we might have to come up with 20% of that. And if we were to be awarded this again, if we have a problem finances-wise, we could push it, purchase of that unit until the FY21 budget as well. But we would like to seek permission to go after the grant again, as we did last year, and see if we can be successful with that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Snap. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion authorizing county staff to pursue the Rescue Squad Assistant Fund grant as presented.
Motion by Mr. Blackstock. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Scarce. We have any further discussion? Hearing none?
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
Motion carries unanimous, Mr.
Thank
Snip.
you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Item C, Pet Center grants, carry over appropriations. Ms. Kimberly G. Vanderhyde.
Yes, it's my pleasure to stand before you tonight and tell you some good news about the Pet Center. Mr. James McLaughlin, Pet Center Director, has been working diligently to secure grants to help offset Pet Center operational costs. To that end, he has been successful in obtaining 3 grants totaling $81,254. He's well on his way to meeting his revenue goal for the year. The first grant is from Petco in the amount of $75,000 and will be used primarily for community spay-neuter program. This grant will also cover Pet Center medical supplies, outreach, advertising efforts, animal transportation costs, and building upgrades. The second grant is from the Roper Foundation. We have received a previous grant from the Roper Foundation, so it's great that we're getting one so soon. That one is in the amount of $5,984 and will be used to purchase Pet Center supplies and provide animal medical care. And the third grant is from the St. Hubert's Animal Welfare Center in the amount of $270 and will be used to help with the community spay-neuter program and animal vaccinations. And I will mention that the St. Hubert's Animal Welfare Center is where we have kind of swap dogs, and if they sell dogs, we get a portion of that money back to help vaccinate dogs as they come in before they're shipped off. So these are dogs that, you know, we are inundated with pit bulls and that type of dog, and so they're sent up north where a lot of those dogs are wanted up there and they're not available. So that's what we're just seeing the beginning fruits of that money. So you will see St. Hubert's come across your desk from time to time. In addition to these grants, we also received $405, which doesn't seem like a lot of money last year, but that money is paid by owners of dogs that have been deemed dangerous dogs, and they have to pay the fee to have a dog of that nature. So we need to make sure that that money is appropriated in the 20 budget so that when that bill comes through from the state, we'll be able to pay it. So you can see how we've placed all of the grants in separate funds in the grants fund so that we can track those expenditures, and you can see all of those that are under your financial impact. The only financial impact to us is a $4,000 local share that the Roper Foundation required, and you all voted on that when you voted on the 2020 carryovers. That was requested in knowing that this grant was coming by Mr. McLaughlin. So you'll see that that's noted down at the bottom, but that's already passed by you all. So I can entertain any questions that you might have. If not, we recommend that you all appropriate these funds.
Any conversation from the board? I think this is phenomenal. Mr. McLaughlin and you guys doing a great job over there driving down cost, so I do appreciate that. So do I have a motion on this?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to appropriate a total of $81,254 to the grants fund and $405 to the veterinary expense fund as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Blackstock.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Miller. Is there any further discussion? All right. Hearing none?
Please cast your vote. Actually, hold on one second. Let me reset this, it looks like.
Sorry.
That's okay, that's all right. Okay, now try to cast your vote.
Let's see if I can do it.
All right, we're gonna have to reset that.
All right. So we had a motion by Mr. Blackstock and then a second by Dr. Miller.
Okay. Now we're gonna get the motion and then the second, Dr. Miller.
So we don't have any discussion.
I'd just like to say, as the chairman of the Pet Center Committee, or the Animal Welfare Committee, I'm continue to be amazed at the job they're doing over there and the turnaround that we've had. These grants are wonderful to receive.
Yeah.
Based on a lot of the bad information that we got over the last couple of years. We head in the right direction. I'm really excited about it.
I agree with you, Mr. Blackstock. No further discussion? Hearing none?
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
Motion carries unanimously. Item D, FEMA Public Assistance Appropriations.
The county recently received an award notification from the Commonwealth of Virginia Department of Emergency Management for FEMA public assistance to cover damages and county manpower efforts experienced during Hurricane Michael. The total amount to be received by the county totals $17,985.21, and that consists of $14,349.91 of federal funds and $3,635.30 of state funds. The award has been designated into two categories, and that's storm debris disposal and reimbursement for manpower efforts of public safety in the Sheriff's Department. And the amounts are going to be appropriated as follows. The storm debris will actually go to the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund so that those monies can be used for storm debris removal or disposal. We've already removed it, but we need to dispose of that. And then the manpower reimbursement is going to the contingency fund in non-departmental so that it can be utilized for future storms that may come up this year. So that total was $7,904.78. There is a 6% local match, which equates to $1147.99, and that would come from each department's operating budget. So we recommend as staff to appropriate a total of $17,985.21 as presented.
Thank you, Ms. Vanderhyde. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the FEMA Public Assistance Funds from the Commonwealth of Virginia Department of Emergency Management in the amount of $17,985.21 and appropriate the funds as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Warren, second by Mr. Barber. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
That motion carries unanimously. Item E, MVP, Grant for Public Safety Appropriations. Once again, Ms. Kimberly G. Vanderhyde.
The county recently received a check in the amount of $5,000 from MVP Pipeline as a public safety grant. This grant will be used by the county's public safety department to purchase public safety software to improve the fire marshal's field technology and reporting program, as well as to improve its hazardous materials response capabilities. The MVP Pipeline grant totaling $5,000 does not require a local match, and we will appropriate that to the grants fund. So staff recommends that you all approve this amount in the total of $5,000 to the grants fund as listed in your board packet.
Thank you, Ms. Vanderhyde. Do we have any discussion? Okay, can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, make a motion, we accept the MVP pipeline grant and appropriate a total of $5,000 to a grants fund as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Barber. We have a motion by Mr. Barber. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Farmer. Thank you. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none?
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
Passes unanimously. Last one, Mr. Vanderhyde, 2019 year-end budget amendments. Ms. Vanderhyde.
Yes, now we're going to travel back to 2019. Each year, our departmental fund budgets are reviewed to determine if sufficient budget amounts exist to cover expenses until year end. Most of these items are bookkeeping entries required by our county's auditors. No department can be in the red when they come in to do their annual audit. The attached list shows the amount needed or requested and the reason for the need or request. The list also contains suggested appropriations for year end, as well as the categorical changes requested by the school board. And you all should have had a list in your board packet along with the letter from the school board requesting those changes. So county staff recommends that the board approve the attached 2019 budget amendments as presented. And the reason tonight's amendments are not requiring a 10-day layover is because general fund monies only total $25,000, which is under your $50,000 10-day layover requirement.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, can I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to appropriate a total of $760,882.31 and approve the suggested budget transfers for the county and category changes for the school board for the FY 2019 budget.
Thank you. Motion made by Mr. Warren. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Scarce. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
That motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Vanderhyde. Item 13, appointments. Appointment, Pittsylvania County Service Authority. Mr. Scarce.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, when the opening, the position on the board of directors came open with the Pittsylvania County Service Authority, individual approached me and I interviewed him. And he's got some outstanding qualifications. He worked for 20 years with an accounting firm where they specifically audited electric cooperatives, telephone cooperatives, municipalities and counties. He specialized in rate increases and investigated fraud and personnel. So I think he worked across all different states, Virginia, Delaware, Maryland, West Virginia, North Carolina. So I think he's infinitely qualified to go on to the Service Authority. So I'd like to make a recommendation to appoint Hugh Mitchell.
All right. Motion made by Mr. Scarce on appointment of Mr. Hugh Mitchell. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second by Dr. Miller. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none.
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
That motion carries unanimously. Welcome aboard, Mr. Hugh Mitchell. Moving along to item 14, matters from the work session. Approval Legislative Committee recommendations, Mr. J. Vade Hunt Squire.
Yes, as you recall, on August 14, 2019, we discussed, the Legislative Committee dealt with two issues. One dealt with a tax exemption issue related to personal property. That issue was tabled by the board, the committee to a future date, and the other item involved proposed revisions to Pittsylvania County Code Section 2-22, running at large restrictions in designated area for a public hearing and potential related action. Included in your packet is the dogs running at large, proposed changes on page 156. I made the change about only one owner per property, not resident, that Mr. Farmer advocated for. Although the Legislative Committee unanimously approved, recommended this to the full board, we're just asking tonight authority from the full board to advertise this for public meeting at the business meeting in September. Just the dogs run at large will bring the other tax item back to you at the appropriate time. Although this came from a committee and doesn't need a second, we're going to need a second for the software. So that's what staff is asking for today.
All right, do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion authorizing county staff to advertise the proposed revisions to the Pittsylvania County Code Section 2-22, running at large restrictions in designated areas, for a public hearing and potential related action at the Board of Supervisors' September business meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer. Motion made by Mr. Farmer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Blackstock. Thank you. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none.
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
That motion carries. I was wrong, Ms. Vanderhyde. You have one more: approval of Finance Committee recommendations. Kimberly Vanderhyde, Kimberly G.
The Finance Committee held a meeting on August 14th, 2019, and there were several matters that were discussed at the board, and actually all of you were present for that committee meeting. The three items that required board approval was, the first you've already taken action on tonight. It was to accept the recommendation from Mr. David Smitherman, our county administrator, to approve carryovers. And so you all have taken care of that with the public hearing and with that approval. The second item, the Finance Committee unanimously voted to recommend to the full board the establishment of a Fire and Rescue Capital Reserve Fund. Funding for this new capital fund totaling $17,215.75 will come from unspent volunteer contributions and are included in carryover request in the first item that you've approved. So basically you've approved that. This just establishes that particular fund. The third item is a request that was made by Mr. Christopher Slimp, Public Safety Director, to appropriate public safety steel grant funds to cover the cost of repairs to Rescue 1. This appropriation totals $17,001.11, and it needs to be approved for appropriation by the board to cover the expense of that repair. And staff recommends that the board approve the Finance Committee recommendations listed above.
Thank you, Ms. Vanderhyde. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the Finance Committee recommendations as presented.
Mr. Scarce makes a motion. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Warren. Do we have any further discussion on this particular subject matter? Hearing none.
Please cast your vote. All votes have been cast. I will now close the vote.
That motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Mr. Barber, do you have anything in the board member reports? Is there anything you have?
No, sir, I have none.
Mr. Blackstock?
I do not.
Mr. Farmer?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Dr. Miller?
No, sir.
Mr. Scarce?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have one thing. I'd like to publicly thank Christopher Spain. He's our new director of DSS. We had a Finance Committee meeting on the 14th, and he briefed us that he was able to find an accounting error that will help the county recoup $169,000. I'm kind of surprised that there was not a front page news in the newspaper on that, because they normally put those kind of things on the front page, especially if it's costing the county money. We're recouping $169,000 to the county. I just wanted to thank Christopher Spain for being that able to be accountable to the county residents, and he's doing a superb job supporting our residents, giving them the care that they need from social services. So just want to make sure you got the public thanks he deserved.
Thank you. Mr. Warren?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I have two items. One is remind everyone of the Blair's Community Day at the Blair's Volunteer Fire Department Saturday from 10 to 4. They will be dedicating the fire truck and the helipad And just hope everyone will come out and support those folks, just like all of our fire and rescue across the entire county. We just couldn't make it without them. They do a superb job, and they're very valuable to our community. Actually, they're priceless to our community. Also want to congratulate the Pittsylvania County School System once again in reading the article recently in the paper that our school system beat every benchmark that was set by the state in their SOLs. It says a lot for our school system, and it says a lot for our future leaders and the young people we have here in our county. So as you see those folks, whether they're teachers or administrators or students, give them a big thumbs up, because that's very important to every aspect of our life here in the county. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that.
Thank you. I echo those same sentiments for our FFA people. Thank you for what you guys did. And naturally, for our educators, always do a bang-up job. Law enforcement, that always do a good job. So we want to thank all of our staff, our IT people. Kevin doesn't happen to be here tonight. He told me he wasn't going to be here, so I was a little worried. So I may have to send him a steak dinner. And by any chance, the counselor, do you have anything tonight? By any chance, did you leave your name off here on purpose, Mr. J. Vaden Hunt Squire?
No.
Okay. All right, Mr. Smitherman.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to additionally bring attention and praise to the Pet Center and Mr. James McLaughlin. They are well on their way to meeting their financial revenue goals for the fiscal year. One of the events that just took place was the first annual WAG Fest. They had a great turnout for the first year.
Sure did.
At least as many dogs there as there were people. And everyone had a great time. Also bring to the public's attention, a raffle for a Coyote tractor. I think it has a bucket on it.
Yep.
We're selling raffle tickets for that at the Pet Center. We'll be announcing a winner on October 30th. And then the final thing I would like to say publicly is our thanks and praise, and I know this board joins me in its congratulations to our Children's Services Agency, particularly Ms. Cheryl Boswell. They again received a flawless audit. As you know, Ms. Boswell has captured the tiger she had by the tail. She has wrestled out what were some pretty exorbitant costs in our CSA program, has brought that down to a very, very manageable level. And she and her staff has done a fantastic job, and is being recognized not only by Pittsylvania County, but by the state. And we appreciate very much their work. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. It is now 8:18. I declare this meeting adjourned.